So, thank you for joining and welcome to MuleSoft Mysore Meetup group. So, today we have the topic connected apps. So, we have Kavita with us who she will be sharing her knowledge about this. So, before that, I'll read out some safe harbor statement. So, both the speaker and the host are organizing this meetup in individual capacity only. We are not representing our companies here, and organizer slash presenter do not hold any responsibility. That same solution will work for your business requirements, right? And this presentation is not meant for any promotional activities. So some housekeeping rule: we are recording this. Okay, so we will be uploading that to YouTube, our YouTube page, as well as to the events page. So you can just check the presentation and the recording by visiting the events page within 24 hours. Okay, and questions you can ask at any time. We have enabled mics for everyone, so feel free to hop in and ask questions with the speaker. Okay, and give us feedback. So we have two organizers for this meetup. So myself, Shubham Chaurasia, I am working as a professional integration developer in Millennium, and I'm a MuleSoft mentor. That's all about me for now. Over to you, Giri.
Yeah, hi Shubham. Thank you. So thank you everyone. Good morning. So thanks for joining us today. So myself, I'm Greether. I'm working at Hasdin as a senior architect. So I take care of MuleSoft accounts and Hasdin. I'm a certified MuleSoft developer and architect and certified AWS architect. So I'm leading Mysore group along with Shubham, and I'm a MuleSoft mentor as well. That's about me. And today we have Kavita here to talk about connected apps and how to create those in Anypoint platform. So she is giving her presentation first time in the community. So and I hope you everyone will support her. So we have turned all your mics. So please speak up if you have any questions, or you can put it in the chat. We can take up at the end. So I request you all to make it more interactive this session. And over to you, Kavita. All the best.
Thank you, Giri. Thank you, Shubham. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining. And
You
I
can
was
share your screen, Kavita.
sure. 1 minute. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm a certified MuleSoft developer and integration architect, and I'm having around 7 years of total IT experience with 3 years in MuleSoft. And I'm happy to be here with you today. I hope we'll have a good and interactive session. So today's agenda is we'll be covering what is MFA and what are connected apps, and access and authorization, different types of different grant types, and how to deploy using the client ID and secret, and how you can generate the bearer token as well, and the limitations for creating connected apps. Yeah, coming to MFA, so we start. So sorry for the background. So coming to the this multi-factor, yeah. So we have this multi-factor authentication
Kavita, I think,
enabled.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
First slide, okay.
Yeah. So from February 1st onwards, so it was enabled for all the users. It must be must, but not compulsory. But beginning from October 29th onwards, all the non single sign-on users have lost access to their Anypoint platform. So everyone needs to configure that. But I know that right now we are able to access it because the timeline have been changed to January 1st again. So 2023, that's the reason we are able to, if anyone was able to log in without MFA. Okay, so once we enabled the MFA, we got an issue like we weren't able to deploy the applications in the cloud hub. So where we started creating, it's a best practice. Once you enable the MFA, it's best practice that you start using the connected apps. So excuse me. So connected apps is an external it's a feature which helps an external application to integrate with your Anypoint platform. So and as Anypoint platform supports auth 2.0 and OpenID Connect to authorize the apps to access data with Anypoint platform. The authorization 2.0, it's an open protocol for authorization and it provides clients a secure delegate access to resources on behalf of the resource owner via authorization tokens. And OpenID client is an added additional layer on top of Auth2 Pro. So it provides more security and control and for the user accounts, and we can audit it. So as I mentioned, it's an additional layer of verification, and it's required for all user accounts except so connected apps helps users to delegate. Okay, we can also delegate our access to the other users, because this connected apps only the org admin will have an access to create the connected app. So once they create the connected app, they can delegate the access so that they can share this connected app details, and they can use in their applications. And the users can revoke access anytime. Anytime. For using this MFA, we have 4 types. So users must verify their anypoint platform side by side, the demo as well as the presentation. So we have the security key. So must have RSA tokens and USB security. I mean, for few of the accounts where there was high security needed, right? So that type of devices. So where we can create the verification codes, and this verification codes can be provided when logging into the Anypoint platform. And the other one is a built-in authenticator. Built-in authenticator is such as the physical devices like Touch ID or Windows Hello to verify our identity when logging into Anypoint platform. And the third one is coming to the third one is a Salesforce authenticator. The Salesforce authenticator is a mobile application where we'll get the verification codes as well, and this can also be used for logging into Anypoint platform. Third one is TOP. It's a third party authenticator app, and right now most of, I mean, it depends upon the project and everything. And right now I used for this presentation is the third party TOP authenticator app. So it's a mobile application where we can get the verification code and logging into Anypoint platform. So access and authorization, coming to this access and authorization, connected app feature creates a seamless authentication experience for the end users. And it has 3 types of users. One is the end user and org admin who can develop a connected app. So, and the other one is an org admin who have access for creating, who have control against the organization's data. So coming to the org admin is the one who have who can view and manage the connected apps in access management, and here they can give the authorization policies to dictate which app can be authorized to access user data. So okay, let me also show that. Yeah. 1 minute, I'm not able to switch. You are able to see my screen, right? I have switched
Yes,
to
ma'am.
Anypoint platform. Yeah. So if you see this is the MFA where we can mention this, as I have mentioned you, it's an optional, right? January 1st. So they made this before it was October 29th. So as the users are facing the difficulties for logging and everything, they changed this to January 1st. So if you want any exception or anything, you can mention here, and you can mention it as optional as well. So without I mean, we can log in by accepting our user account. And
Kavita, you can click on the toggle bar. There is a hide option is there. You can click on that.
sure. Thank you. And also I have mentioned like we have 4 types of authentications, right? So yeah. So 4 types of authentication. So these are the 4 types of authentication. At any time, you can change your authentication. So right now I'm using one-time password generator. So if I want, I can change it to the security key or built-in authenticator. So it's not like you need to use continuously this one only. So there is an option for changing. So, and we also have the different grant types for the connected apps. So the first one is so so it is used authorized by any user to act on their behalf, and in this one we have three supported grant types. So they are like basically password and GWT pair. Right now, this is out of our scope, and I'm going with app that acts on its own behalf, and this one is like it acts on behalf without impersonating a user, and the app can be used only in an organization where it is created. Credentials. And in this both, the second one we can mention it as a first party application because we are using the application where we are creating it, and the other one we can make it as a third party application. I'll show that as well. Sorry. See, if you see, we have an app that acts on behalf of the user. So if you are going with this, we have three types of authorization code and password. The website URL and the redirector URIs and all. So we need a lot of information for that. So this where we have it acts on behalf of the client credentials, and we need to add scopes that I'll be showing later. So be able to create our application in the access management in the create app, and these are the scopes where we can select, and the basic scope which we need is like the design center and the runtime manager. So where we need to design an API and deploy the application, so that might be the basic one which we need, and based upon our project requirement and all, if we need an object store and if we need any point MQ, so we need to add their different as well. And mention that we are using the client ID and secret, right, for this. So username and password, we'll be using client ID and secret for this deployment. And and also, sorry, I missed this. So in the POM file also, generally we'll be mentioning the username and password for the deployment, right? Because as we are doing the connected apps for the security purpose and to delegate the access, so we need not give the sensitive information like the username and password in our POM file. So that's the reason they came up with the connected apps, and we can give this client credentials, the client ID and secret for the deployment. So the same client ID credentials we are using in the AnyPoint GitHub Actions, and we are passing that. Let me show that as well. So adding to the scopes, so we have we have the general one, so we can enable this, so we would be able to use this as scopes. So we have multiple scopes in that we can create around 2000 connected apps, and with along with the 1000 scopes. So if you have different business groups, right, and if it is to create scopes, because if the scopes has been increasing, only 1000 scopes are available. If you have number of business groups, let's assume like 10 or 20 business groups, difficult for us to have all the business groups in one connected app. In that case, you can divide the business groups into one connected app, or 5 of the business groups into one connected app, and other 5 into the unconnected app. But you should make sure that we will be having the common services business groups, right? So that you have to make sure that that business group should be present, so that it will not be having any issues when you are deploying your applications. So the API manager access we have. So based upon our project requirement, so this is the basic requirement. If you say design center for developing the RAML and all, so all that things. So this is how you can create the scopes, and I'll also show like how we can revoke the access as well. Use the API group administrator, the general one, API manager, and the general things I have used. Runtime manager. And let me know if anyone have doubts. I'll pause here for a second. Shubham Giri.
We don't have any questions in the chat, so anyone any questions, feel free to enable your, I mean, your mic is enabled, so ask.
I think we can move ahead.
So we can revoke this access. So from the root level, the organization to the different connected apps. So we can revoke their access whenever we want. So whenever the organization administrator will not going to call. Coming to the connected app, if you see the ID, we doesn't have an option for changing the ID. So ID can be the same thing, but coming to the secret, you have an option of the editing this. So you can we can keep our own secret for as well, other than using the one the generated one. And as I mentioned that connected apps can be audited logs, and we can see, so we have this audit log option as well, so where we can audit the logs, who have done what action has been done previous 1 hour and everything. And coming to this connected apps, also connected apps can be created at an root level organization. It cannot be created at the sub organizational level or the business group level. It can be done at the root level organization, and the org admin only will be having access for creating that. But he can delegate the access to the other developers as well for creating it, not for the creating, for using it. I have deployed the two of the applications using that. And coming to here, one of the point I have mentioned is like, yeah, username. This is my POM file, which I'm using for demoing. So we are uncommenting this username and password, and we are adding this client ID, sorry, this one, connected app client ID and secret. And one more thing which we faced an issue is whenever you are deploying this connected app application, so the version, any point version should be same in the auto deploy file and the POM file. Even in, so that's the one of the thing we faced an issue, so it should match. So here I'm having v3 as well, but I have commented it off. So if you are making the changes to your auto deploy file as v3, then you can use the v3 over here. Okay. And this yeah, as I mentioned you here, so I'm using line number 20, any point exchange v2. And generally we'll be using the username and password for logging in, but when we are using connected apps, we'll just give the username as client, and at the password level we'll be giving it as connected app client ID and connected app client secret. So this differences, if you are following, then it would be easy for deployment and all. So I just added all this client ID and secret, as I mentioned, and this as well. And also we have one more option for generating this access token. So with the client ID and secret, we can generate the access token. And this is the, if you can see, the we have an URL, anypoint.mulesoft.com accounts. So this is an URL which was given by the MuleSoft. So by using this URL and with the connected app client ID secret, you can generate the token which can be used instead of here. Okay, let me show. So, so instead of using here connected app and connected client ID secret, you can mention it as an auth token and you can pass the token. But one of the reason, I mean, it's not an issue, but the token will be getting expired. So every time whenever we want a new token, we need to generate it, or we have to change it, or we have to write a code, like we can generate it and we can use it in the code that way. So that's one of the thing. That's the reason I'm using this, instead of using the token, I'm using the client ID and secret. And I just have written of the flow. I'm not using much of the components. I just a listener and the transform message and this and how I'm deploying it. So I have already shown you here the POM file and the auto deploy file. And these are the client ID secrets which we need to enable. So why we are using this Sunnypoint platform client ID and secret is like we'll be having the specific business group and the environments, right? So that for deploying into that specific business group and environments, we are using this client ID and secret. So that's the thing. And this is my flow. Minute, we have few more things. So I have showed this. We can revoke the access. Okay. So, any more questions which I can take it up? And okay, one more thing I just wanted to show. We have, sorry for that. Discuss. If you see, we have an authorization tab. So if you see here, we have a configuration where it is unrestricted and restricted policy. So organization members can may authorize any connected app to act on their behalf. So default it will be an unrestricted access because it's an internal application which we are using. If we have a third party and if we want it, then we can check box this and it will tell like automatically authorizing all. Okay, so it's like approved by an admin. So admin need to approve it. Then once he approves it, it will be the default one. If I change it, it says like we have changed it. So let me know if I'm going a bit fast. I'll be a bit slow. And so if we are using the second option, so we'll know what all the applications we have given the access and all authorization which we are providing. So when we are using this second option, so whenever we are logging, whenever the other developer or the end user is logging in, he might be getting a pop-up on the window where it says like grant access for this person. So the admin will be getting that, and once he gets that, then we would be able to see this what all applications are allowed here. And we also have an documentation where if you see the full one where we'll give the full access to anything the user can do. And coming to the read, it is like only the read only access. And if you see, it's an internal app. So we are not doing as an external application in the sense if we go while creating the application. So the first one, if you are using, it would be an external application as it's an authorization code and password. It's a client ID credentials which is created within the organization. So this will be an internal application. So that's one thing. So that's the reason we have the differences over here, internal app and the external app. So the internal app has full read full and we have open ID where we can see the ID of the person, any point ID, and we have a profile as well. It is also a read only access to read the profile. One minute, I'm yeah. So this also, if you see, it mentions like internal app. So as we are using the default one, so this all access will be having. So email is like we can only see the read only access for the user's email. Offline is like access to users data when they are not logged in, background access. So any questions or anything?
We have one question. Uh, Let me read out to you.
Yeah.
So Hanu is asking like among the connected apps, do we also attempt sync and async modes?
Okay, that I haven't worked on, but it will not be causing an issue, I think. But I'll just explore and I'll let you know. I just, just you done the CloudHub deployment with the connected app, but did not work on sync and sync.
Okay, so we have one from Saknik. Like, just wanted to check if the MFA that is enabled for user login to the platform has any relation with connected app.
Yes. Okay. As I have shown you here. So If you see here, only the service accounts were able to log in with MFA. So once we log into MFA, you'll be
Kavita, I think
using.
your screen got freezed.
Oh, okay. Let me reshare it again.
No, I think it's visible. It's for you, Giri, I think only. Right.
Is it
Where
visible?
where are you at?
Yeah.
You are at owned apps.
No, no, it's
Okay,
she's
I
at
think at my end.
MFA.
Sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay. So I mean, you will be able to log in into the AnyPoint platform, but you would be not able to deploy your applications because you'll not be using your username and password, right? So that's the reason you would not be able to deploy your application. That's where we have to create the connected apps, and instead of using the username and password, so we'll be giving the client ID and secret, as we'll be you adding one more extra layer of security, and we'll not be sharing the same sensitive details as well to the end user. I hope I have answered your question.
Let
Uh,
us know, like, Sarniga.
yeah, yeah. Right, if I'm not looking to go the CI/CD way of using the entire client ID credentials for that, if I'm just looking to upload a jar, then still do I need a connected app for that, or just if I'm like, having the MFA, maybe I'm using a Salesforce authenticator for that. So if I'm logging in using that Salesforce authenticator right into, and I'm having access to the runtime manager, is there some connected behind the scenes that I am not aware of? Is what I wanted to check.
Okay, you are using the Salesforce authenticator, so that means like you are using the MFA, right?
Right, right.
So, but you have you are telling that you can I deploy the applications into runtime manager.
Right, right. Maybe
So,
just the usual way, the normal way, just uploading the jar, maybe not using the POM and settings or XML.
okay, the manual way of the
Right, right,
deployment
right.
of the, yeah, that you can do
That
because
does not require a connected app, right?
no, no, because
Got
we
it, got it.
feel, I mean, we were deployed, we have what enabled the MFA, but we weren't able to use it through CI/CD. So we
Right,
used like manual deployment for few days, and
understood.
then we found the resolution.
Right,
So
right, right. Yeah, that's what I was trying to understand. Like, if I'm not going the CI/CD way, just the usual way, then the connected app doesn't come up, right?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
No, I don't think. Yeah.
And
And
we, yes, yes, please go ahead.
yeah, so anyone, any questions, please feel free to ask. For now, we don't have any questions in the chat, Kavita.
Okay. So as I have done with the token bearer, so coming to the benefits and limitations, so benefits, it can be tracked and auditable, and the sensitive information, we are not sharing the sensitive information, and the granted access can be revoked, as I have shown here. The exempt users, and it can be revoked, is here. You can manage them, right? So, yeah. So this is the one where you can revoke the access to, for which business group you can revoke, and the root level also you can revoke the access. So if you're unchecking this box, they would not be able to access it. And the application actions are logged in the audit log, and the password change is not required. If they are revoking our access, we need not change our password. And even if we are changing the, even if the passwords has been updated, passwords can be changed without, I mean, we need not update it in the other system. So whenever we are changing the password, we have to update it in the other systems, right? So now it's not needed, as you are using the client ID and secret of the connected app. And one of the limitation, as I have mentioned, like we can each connected app can have only up to 1,000 scopes, and particular organizations can create up to only 2,000 connected apps. So, yeah, that's it. Yeah, demo I have we can like within a connected app, what all things we can manage and all. So, if we have an external third party applications, as this is a client ID internal one, we don't have anything to show up, but it will be showing the application name and what are the particular scopes for that application as well. Yeah, Giri, I'm done with the demo as well. So, any more questions which I can take it up here?
Yeah, Kavita, we have one from Shiva. Like, do we have an API to create connected apps?
Any API? No, it doesn't have an API. Only the organization admin can create an a connected app. It's not an API which creates. See, if you see, you can see an a connected app in the access management. So this only the person with an org level admin access can see this. Whereas a developer or the other who doesn't have an organization, who even though they have an organization admission, only the root level admin can create it and they can delegate the access. So we doesn't have any API as such.
I think he meant for platform APIs. Or does it? Thanks. He mentioned thanks. Do we have any platform API for creating connected apps?
I did not get the question.
I mean, like we can use any point platform APIs, right, to perform
Yes,
any actions.
yes.
So, do we have an one for creating connected apps? That's what I'm asking.
Let me explore that and I'll let you know. Because
Yeah,
I don't think
I
we
don't
have
think
that.
we have a
We
platform API
have
to create connected apps.
because only the org admin and for that particular organization you can create a connected app. It's not a it's not a template kind of thing where we can use. So I don't think we have as such one.
all right. So, anyone, any
Yeah,
questions?
Shubham, this is Akash.
Yeah.
So I have prepared a pipeline in Azure DevOps. So when I'm trying to, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. When I'm trying to deploy it, it is automatically deploying in Cloud 1.0. How to change it to 2.0? I mean, I'm using these variables. I just pinged in chart. Here, where I'm giving server as anypoint.platform.
While we are deploying the application to what change it as cloud 1.0 or cloud 2.0, while deploying we'll have that the
No, I'm using CI/CD pipeline, not manually.
So you're using the Mule Maven plugin, right?
Yeah.
So there is a certain section called CloudHub 2 deployment instead of the CloudHub deployment in the POM that needs to be configured in order for your app to sit on CloudHub 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
can I stop sharing? Giri?
Yes, Kavita. There is one more question from Shiva. So,
Yeah.
how can the delegated users can create connected apps?
Are you able to see my screen?
Now,
Yes,
yeah, now it is disconnected, right? You
yes,
unshared
Giri.
your screen. Yeah.
Yes.
So there is a question from Shiva. Delegated user can create connected apps. He's asking.
Delegated user, so they have to no. Once we create the connected app, we can delegate the. I mean, we can give the access for them to use it.
Okay. So any more questions from anyone?
Yeah, hi Gridhar. I have a question. So I have created one pipeline in GitHub Actions and do the deployment in the CloudHub 1.0. So when I go ahead with I am using connected app approach. So when I do the deployment in my trial account, then at that time the deployment got successful. But when I do the same thing in my client account, so at that time it is not getting successful. It is remain in the undeployed stage, and I am getting the error like user is unauthorized to access requested resource. So when we provide the connected app one scope, that is CloudHub Organizer Admin, at that time when we provided that, then the deployment got successful. But it is not required in my trial account. So what will be the reason for this?
A trial account, you might be the org admin, right? You have the organization administrator access. So for your project one, someone might have created who have the root level. So he need to give that CloudHub deployment access, then only you would be able to deploy it.
So in client account, the read application, write application, manage application, these scopes are not much necessary than CloudHub organizer admin scope. Is it so?
Yes, for the deployment, you need that.
Okay.
And while creating, we might be enabling all the scopes, right? But one is delegating the access, they might be seeing whether this is needed or not. They might not be giving us the admin access
Yeah.
for the deployment. So that might be also causing the issue.
Yeah. Basically, that's the client question, that why we are need to give you the CloudHub organizer admin scope.
I mean, without for the read and read access, we can't deploy the application, right? So only for the organization administrator will have the full access. So for that, we need the admin access.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone, any other questions? Then we can move to this trivia. Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask. We are playing the quiz on Kahoot. Okay. So just go to kahoot.it and enter the pin we are going to share. Okay. Let me share my screen back.